So my name is Gajendra Deshpande, and I'm going to deliver a talk on multilingual natural language processing using Python. So in my talk, we will be discussing about introduction to NLP and the concepts, then challenges in multi-source multilingual NLP, tools for extracting the information from various file formats, then methods to convert information to common language format, and finally the conclusions. So let us first discuss what is meant by natural language processing. So basically natural language processing has various applications. So whenever you want to process text written in human language, we are going to use natural language processing techniques. So basically we are going to apply some computational methods on the plain text so that to get or to achieve our desired goal. So our desired goal can be on the text. We want to perform some computations in order to generate some summary, in order to generate some text based on the existing text. Then maybe we want to perform some analysis on the text. Okay. uh, let us look at some concepts related to natural language processing, and these are the steps which we are going to perform whenever we are dealing with any project related to natural language processing. So first one is the tokenization. So we know that we will be given a text in terms of paragraphs. That will be a huge text, and the information will be in terms of pages. So basically that will be a huge text. Okay. So we cannot directly perform operations on the or computations on the plain text directly. So we need to tokenize them. We need to convert it into different tokens. So you can convert the huge text into words and sentences. So when I say words and sentences, we are basically converting them to array of words or array of sentences. The next concept which we will discuss is the word embeddings. Note here that we cannot directly perform operation on the text. We need to convert it into vectors. So our system or algorithms, they don't understand the text. So for that we need to convert the words into vectors. So there are ready-made functions available. You can use those functions, and there are libraries like word2vec. You can use those libraries and convert the words into vectors. The next is text completion. So you'll be given a few sentences. Maybe they are not complete, and your algorithm will try to predict next few words in that sentence. So basically this feature is library specific. You may not find it in all the libraries, and it may not be the core feature or core requirement to perform NLP. It is just one application, you can say. The next is the sentence similarity. So here you will be given with two sentences. So sentence A and sentence B, and your algorithm will check how similar these two sentences are. So basically the value will vary between 0 and 1. So when you move towards 1, that means that uh, the sentences are more similar. The next is transform text into their canonical form. So that's the process of a normalization. Then next feature is the transliteration. So transliteration and translation, these are the two techniques which we are going to use in our multilingual natural language processing. So without these, it will be very hard to deal with text written in different human languages. So transliteration is write a text in language A script using the language B script. Say for example, you can write English sentence in English sentence using maybe Spanish script. So if I have to give example from another language, then you can write English sentence in Chinese language. Okay, so the script will be Chinese, but when you read it, you are actually reading an English sentence. So that is just a transliteration. It is not a translation. Translation is little bit. Translation is totally different. So here you are actually converting a sentence from one language to sentence in another language. Say for example, here you have been given a sentence in English, you can directly translate it into Spanish. So there will be challenges in the translation. translation may not be accurate 100%. So many times it translates, or your algorithms translates, or even Google Translate or Bing translates. They translate word by word. Of course, they try to predict based on the other words in the sentence, but basically it will be word by word. Then next is phonetic analysis. In phonetic analysis, we see how two characters sound, whether they sound similar or they sound different. Then next is convert the text into syllables. So basically here you will be given a word, so you can divide the word into different syllables. So syllables is related to the pronunciation. Here you are grouping the characters based on the pronunciation. Then next concept is lemmatization. So convert the words into their root form. So if I have to take an example, say for example studying. So it removes last few characters and converts it into exact word, exact meaningful word. So it can remove ing and it can say that study is the root form of studying. But if I consider stemming is not accurate. Stemming also does the same thing. It removes last few characters, but it doesn't matter to stemming algorithm whether it is a word existing in the dictionary or no. So it is just going to remove few characters. But whereas in case of lemmatization, it removes few characters, but it sees that it's a proper word. Then next is part of speech tagging. So once you tokenize it, once your paragraph is converted into different tokens, you can try to tag different part of speech in a text. The next one is the named entity recognition. So in named entity recognition, from the paragraph of text, you can identify which are the places, which are the names of the persons, and so on. Then dependency parsing. In dependency parsing, we try to analyze the grammatical structure of a sentence. So that means we want to see which word is dependent on which other word. Then language detection. So language detection is again very important in case of multilingual NLP. That is because we often use mixed language words. If basically if we know more than one language, right, there's a possibility that whenever we write or whenever we speak, we tend to use the words from different language. Say for example, if I know English other than my um, native language, then I tend to use English words more often, right? So similarly, this is the case with any person. If he knows or if she knows more than one language, if a person knows more than one language, then definitely they mix the words. So it is difficult to perform NLP on those things, because it will create a problem in translation. Okay, if there's a text, if there's a entire paragraph written in two different languages, say English and Spanish, yeah, it's fine. Okay, I can directly convert those paragraphs and easily that can be done, because those two are considered as different inputs and different documents. But in case of mixed language, what happens in between sentences, I use the words from different languages. So that's a challenge here. So you may not get accurate results in case of such things. So you need a different data set altogether there. So stemming we have already discussed. Now challenges in multilingual NLP. So first of all, our human languages are ambiguous in nature. So same words mean differently in different contexts. Okay. So we need to try to identify the context, not the content. So if you want to ensure the accuracy, then languages have a different structure, grammar, and order. Okay. So say for example, Western languages, they have got different structure. Eastern languages like Indian language, they have got a different structure. Okay. Some languages are written from left to right, and some languages are written from right to left. Okay. So the when we are mixing all these things, when we are considering the documents from say one language from Europe, say English, then another language from Asia, say Hindi, right? So when we're mixing these languages which have totally different structure, it's really challenging to perform NLP tasks on such things. Then hard to deal with the mixed language information. Uh, then next is translation from one language to another language is not accurate. This is often the case because the content is taken into account, not the context. And many times it happens that the way we write text also matters. Then language semantics needs to be taken into account. Then lack of libraries and features. So in computing world, we know that there are lots of libraries which caters to the needs of all the developers, right? There is SPACY, which is industrial strength natural language processing library. Then there's a TextSC, which is based on SPACY. Uh, then if you have to discuss again multilingual NLP, there is a polyglot library. Then there's a stanza. And if you have to take into consideration natural language processing on Indian languages, then there are few libraries such as Indic NLP and so on. So each of these libraries offer some features, but of course they offer all basic features such as tokenization, lemmatization, and so on, even part of speech tagging, named entity recognition. So such basic features are offered by all the algorithms. So that's not our problem. The problem is if you have to perform some things, then we cannot perform multilingual NLP using just a single library. So we need to use combination of libraries, and many features needs to be hard coded. Say for example, if I have to perform n-gram analysis, then it may not be supported by some library, say Indic NLP library. So I have to hard code that feature here. So similarly, language detection. So language detection, they may work on paragraph of text. Uh, so it may directly say that yes, this paragraph is written in English, this paragraph is written in Hindi, this paragraph is written in Spanish, and so on. But what if the paragraph has words from different languages, right? Then it becomes difficult for that function to say that this particular paragraph is written in this language only. So there we have to perform some other things. Maybe we have to tokenize the paragraph and check the language of each and every word. Okay, and if you find a difference, then we may do something else. We may just translate that word from other language to language maximum the language of the paragraph, and so on. So we may have to do such types of custom coding. Then let's see the general flow of multi-source and multilingual information processing. So when we say multi-source and multilingual information processing, we assume that the information will be available in various file formats. So information will be available in PDF, it may be available in audio, it may be available in a Word document, it may be available in video, it may be available in text. Okay, so we are not just focusing on only one source, say website or a Google search or a Bing search. That is because when we search, we basically search in a single language. Say if I have to search for any information, I just search in English, but the articles written in other languages may miss out. So again, for that I have to uh, change my query. I have to change the language of the search and get that query. So this is a challenge. And also the text may be available in different sources such as text, audio, video, and image. So you have to consider all those sources and extract the text from these different sources. So this is the first step, text collection. Okay. And we have got libraries to do all these things. So Python ecosystem is so huge, it is so friendly that you get a lot of support here, and community members have written libraries for almost everything, right? So you can use those libraries directly and extract the text. The next is identify the language of the text. So here we are considering that we are considering a topic, but the information may be written in different languages. So the information language is not important to us, the information is important to us. So that's why we are going to identify the language, right? Then we are going to translate all the content to source language. Say for example, I have got a text, one paragraph or one document written in English, another document written in Spanish, another document written in Hindi, another document written in Chinese, but they are all speaking of only one topic. So in that case, it becomes very important for us to translate everything to a single language. Okay. So if I'm saying that, okay, I will perform NLP on English because most of the libraries support English, and it may be easy for everyone to do it. So we can translate all the language text to English. So that becomes my source language. Then process text. In processing the text, I'm going to apply all the steps which we have discussed in our previous uh, slide. That is tokenization, word embeddings, lemmatization, right? Part of speech tagging, name recognition, right? Ngram analysis. So I'm going to perform all these steps. Plus, I'm going to perform some additional steps. Say, for example, if I have to, let's take one example of generating a summary of multiple documents where each document is written in a different language, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these documents as input, convert the text in all these documents to a single language. So once it has been converted to single language, I'm going to perform tokenization, right? I'm going to see how many times each word is appearing. So basically I'm going to compute the word frequency. Then I'm going to perform n-gram analysis. So n-gram analysis will give me the frequency of co-occurring words, right? So that will help me to form the context. Now once I get the count of the words, right, I can choose those sentences which where these high frequency words are appearing, right? So once it is done, then what I can do is I can just translate the summary into any language I want. Say for example, I want this translation summary into Spanish, I can do it. So just use a translate APIs or translate library. If you want this into Hindi, yes, you can do it, right? So this is the process which we are going to follow, or which we need to follow whenever we are generating the summary from a text which is written in different languages. Now we'll see some of the libraries which will help us to achieve our task. So first one is the Google Trans. So Google Trans is a free and unlimited Python library that implemented Google Translate API. So it uses Google Translate Ajax API to make calls to such methods as detect and translate. So it is compatible with Python 3.6 and upper versions. It is fast and reliable because it uses the same servers that translator.google.com uses, and it supports auto language detection, bulk translations, and customizable service URLs, and HTTP2 support is available. So I have mentioned the URL of this library at the bottom of this slide. You can refer this library and you can visit this URL to get more information on it. Now, to install it, you can use pip command. So pip install Google Trans will install this library on your machine. Then to do the translation, you can go for, you have to first import the appropriate package. So that is, in this case, it is Google Trans. Then you have to initialize the object, that is translator. Then translator has got a function called as translate. So you specify here the source language, right? So here the source language is Korean, and when you're translating, you can also specify the destination language. So destination language is Japanese, I guess. Then you can also specify other destination language based on your requirement. So basically you're translating from source language to destination language. So this library we are going to use to translate all our documents into a single language. Then you can also specify which server to use. So if you want to specify translate.google.com. You can specify it. If you don't specify, then if you specify more URLs, then Google Trans will select the URL service URL randomly. Now you can also detect a language of the sentence or the text using the detect function. So you can just use the detect function on the translator object here. It is very simple to use. The next package is the speech recognition. So basically this library will help you to extract the text from audio file. Okay, so maybe there is a speech given by some eminent personality and you want to extract the content of that speech, then you can use this library, speech recognition. So it's a library for performing speech recognition with support from several engines and APIs, so both online and offline. So you can see here that it supports Google Speech Recognition, Google Cloud Speech APIs, with.ai, then Microsoft Bing Voice Recognition, then IBM Speech to Text, and other APIs and speech recognition engines are supported. Now to install it, you can use again pip and you can install speech recognition APIs. It has a dependency of PyDub, so you can install it. Then next is import the required package. Then specify the file name from which you want to extract the text. Then initialize the recognizer using recognizer function. Right? Then use uh, other functions such as audio file, then record function, then finally the recognize function to extract the text. So here Google Speech API has been used, so we are using the function recognize underscore Google. Right. So extracted text will be stored in a variable text. So when you print it, it will print the text from the audio file. The next library is the PyTesseract. So PyTesseract extracts the text from an image file. So it's an optical character recognition tool for Python. So that is, it will recognize and read the text embedded in images. Of course, the image quality matters here. So if the text is clearly visible, then algorithm may work. If text are blurred in the image, then you may not get accurate words. So whenever you are performing OCR, basically some junk characters are also inserted. So you need to handle those cases. Okay. Then it's a wrapper for Google's Tesseract OCR engine. It's also useful as a standalone invocation script to Tesseract, as it can read all image types supported by the Pillow and Leptonica imaging libraries, including JPEG, PNG, GIF, BMP, TIFF, and others. So additionally, if used as a script, Python Tesseract will print the recognized text instead of writing it into a file. Now this is a very simple code which basically extracts the text from an image file, just a 3-line code. So first you need to import the PyTesseract library. Then you need to specify the path for Tesseract engine. Okay. Then next, use the image to string function from Tesseract library and specify the image path. So it will read the image and process the image and extract the text and print it. Next is Beautiful Soup. Okay, sorry, I had to mention B here. So it's Beautiful Soup, which will extract the information from a web page. So since we are dealing with information from various sources, uh, web page is also one source from where you can extract the information. So basically I want to specify search query, and based on the search query I will get the list of pages, and from those list of pages I need to extract the URLs of those pages, and once I get the URL, you can extract the information from those pages. So it's a library that makes it easy to scrape information from web pages. So it sits on top of an HTML or XML parser, providing Pythonic idioms for iterating, searching, and modifying the parse tree. So example is, you also need a request library here because you have to specify the URL of a web page, right? So then import request library, then import Beautiful Soup, Then specify URL from which you want to extract the information. Then specify this path to Beautiful Soup and specify the parser. Then you need to specify on the web page where you want to update the output. So here I want to update the output to the division section, that is results container. Then just say results.printify, it will just organize your input. Now what you have to do here is you have to also perform some additional processing here, because your information, whatever you are going to get, you are going to get it along with the HTML tags, along with the JavaScript code. So you need to remove all this additional information which is not necessary for our text processing or our application. Then next library is Stanza. So Stanza is a Python NLP package for many human languages. It is by Stanford. Earlier it was known as Stanford NLP, but now they have changed its name. Now it's known as Stanza. So there is a website called as stanza.run. You can just visit this website and you can see the demo. It supports many human languages. So Stanza is a collection of accurate and efficient tools for many human languages in one place. So starting from raw text to syntactic analysis and entity recognition, Stanza brings state-of-the-art NLP models to languages of your choosing. So native Python implementation requiring minimal efforts to set up. Then full neural network pipeline for robust text analytics, including tokenization, multi-word, token expansion, lemmatization, part of speech, and morphological features tagging, dependency parsing, and named entity recognition. So these are the features supported by Stanza. Then pre-trained neural network models are supported for 66 human languages. Okay. Then it's a very stable, officially maintained Python interface to core NLP. So you can see the example on this slide. So what I have done is I have chosen a small story here. Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah. So you can see the Stanza library here. Basically, we are performing NLP on English text. So you can see here it has identified part of speech, lemmas. Then it has also identified here named entity recognition. Then it is showing the universal dependencies. So similarly, I have used Stanza for another language. So that's the Hindi, which is the language from India. So you can see here it has identified part of speech. Then note here that NER is not yet available. So if you want to perform NER, then you may have to use another library which supports it, or you have to hard code it. Then also dependency parsing is supported. Then next is the INLTK package. If you are interested in performing uh, NLP on Indic languages, then you can go for INLTK library, because Stanza doesn't support all the Indian languages. It supports around 4 to 5 languages. But if you want more languages and if you are interested in mixed language NLP, that is Hindi and English and so on, then you may have to go for these libraries. Right, so you can see here which languages and features are supported on this slide. Right. So this is another library, that is Indic NLP library, created by Anup Kunchkutan. So again, it is focusing on Indian language NLP. Then this is the last library which we are going to discuss, that is the Polyglot NLP library. It's a natural language pipeline that supports massive multilingual applications. It's developed by Rami El Rafu, and you can see here that it supports tokenization of 165 languages, language detection in 196 languages, name entity recognition for 40 languages, right, part of speech tagging for 16 languages, and so on. So this also shows that there is a lot of opportunity in contributing to these libraries. So in summary, performing NLP tasks on multiple human languages at a time is hard, especially when the text includes mixed languages. The information need to be extracted from multiple sources and multiple languages and should be converted to common language. So multilingual NLP helps to generate output in a target language, that is specified language. So there are various libraries offering different features. Not a single library offers all features. So in this talk, basically, I have discussed different techniques, but I was unable to show the entire application, but that's fine. You can use all these concepts. You can use all these libraries and use the general flow which I had specified to achieve your goal. Thank you. Thank you everyone for attending my talk, and I thank the organizers of PyCon Columbia for giving me an opportunity to speak to all of you. Thank you.